everybody keeps talking about White House. I don't know, we got that whole trial and impeachment thing. I think it was a huge ploy by the Republicans at that time trying to...
A sociopath in that respect, but at this point, I would never think I would forgive him, but as a politician, sexual rights of politicians should, 10, 12 years ago, I felt vehemently.
He should have been impeached because I don't think his actions tarnished the presidency. Whatever he did was on his own time and didn't affect the country. The basic problem was that Congress didn't like him, and basically they wanted to teach him a lesson. They knew that the House...
Okay. Question?
What did you think about Bill Clinton's scandal?
Well, I felt that the scandal was not so much the fact that he was cheating on his wife or cheating with a woman, which of course is not really proper behavior for a president. The bad thing about that was that, first of all, this was being done with an intern. That is somebody who came in to work in the White House, and to me that's very unprofessional, to breach of trust. That's the first thing. If, for example, a teacher or a businessman were to do this, there'd be terrible consequences. He'd be fired. Yet Bill Clinton seems to think that he had a license to get away with this. And of course, you know, a lot of people very foolishly say, well, it's no big deal. It is a big deal. Secondly, he was the most powerful man in the world at the time for 8 years. And it's not a very good idea for a person that powerful to be doing this kind of thing, especially with unknown people. I mean, she was an intern. We really don't know who she was, who she might have been working for. People talk in their sleep. People also get very comfortable with somebody, and they may, you know, they may let secrets go. You don't know that. It's a very poor practice for a president to be doing. Forget about the fact that it's undignified, and it's really, you know, at least in the past, presidents may have had mistresses that were discreet about it. But doing it in the middle of the White House is not a good idea. But I think even today, especially because of the tremendous importance of the president, because of the fact that he does control you know, access to nuclear missiles and has a tremendous amount of power, I don't think it's a great idea for a president to be doing things like this in the time that he's in office, and especially with what he knows. On top of that, he then openly lied to the Congress. He openly lied to everybody, and I think that's a breach of trust. I mean, essentially, everybody got on Nixon's back because he was covering up for men for a break-in that he didn't order, by the way. I mean, he was covering for his men, and he had tapes, and he didn't want to relinquish them, and a lot of pressure came under him, and it was a possibility he could have been impeached, so he left office at that point. I think Bill Clinton was much worse, in the sense that he openly lied to the Congress and then tried to justify it for semantics. And I think it's a tremendous amount of dishonesty, and that was only one of many scandals. There were many other scandals before and even after that he, his family, his wife, his friends were involved with that I think were very undignified. And for me, the chief impression I had of Bill Clinton was he became president to get rich. He was like a carpetbagger, trying to steal as much as he could. And I just think it's a very undignified kind of thing. I think that he had a power trip. This whole business was about power. Certainly the way he operated as governor of Arkansas was disgraceful. There were many, many scandals, both he and his wife were involved with in Arkansas. And in addition to that, I think it showed in the sense that his reputation was so poor that he really had to settle for very, very poor advisors and cabinet people. If you look at the people served under him, they were bottom of the barrel. And our foreign policy suffered greatly during that time. Bin Laden, Saddam Hussein, a lot of people who we later had to take other actions against could have been fought or taken out very easily during that time, and they weren't because the president couldn't be found many times to get clearance. There's a famous story that he was with Monica Lewinsky and they found Osama bin Laden. They were about to take him up and they had to have his clearance, and he was too busy with Monica to bother answering. There was the other famous story which reporters reported very clearly, who was playing golf and didn't want to be disturbed. And then later it was found out that they had actually gotten Saddam Hussein, and they could have taken him out and avoided this whole problem. And again, the president was nowhere to be found. He was playing golf. The whole attitude during his presidency was one, I think, of corruption, of incompetence. It's not to say other presidencies haven't had corruption, but I think with the Clintons it was out of control. And I mean, even to the last days, some of the horrible low-class things they did. For example, Hillary stealing paintings out of the White House and putting inferior paintings in, and she was leaving. Stuff like this is undignified. It's below what a president should be. And again, if you look at the people that worked under him, they were, the bottom of the barrel. They weren't really the better people. I think his presidency resulted in a loss of confidence and respect for the presidency. I think that the press had a field day in the end with all this, and it became more focused on reporting scandals and small things. And I think that many, because of the investigations that resulted in all the unpopular publicity, many of the better candidates stopped running. And I think the inferior quality of presidents since then is largely a result of the split in presidency, which opened up the door to all this kind of thing. It's remarkable. I think it's important to point out that in 1972 the public wouldn't tolerate much less from Richard Nixon, and yet they're willing to tolerate all this from Bill Clinton. The fact that people still think he was a great president is very